Today's lesson is on converting repeating decimals to fractions. So the steps are going to be: let x represent our repeating decimal. We're going to determine two place values where you can put your decimal so you have the same repeating decimal. We're going to set up two equations based on the previous step. Subtract both sides of the equation, solve for x by dividing, and simplify the fraction if needed. So go ahead and pause the video if you need to finish taking your notes. So our first one is we have let x represent a repeating decimal. So here's my repeating decimal, 0.583, and the bar is over the 3, so only the 3 is repeating. So I'm going to go ahead and rewrite my fraction. I'm going to have 0.5833333, and it's going to keep going. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and determine two places where you can put your decimal so that you have the same repeating decimal. So what that means is that after my decimal, I only want the repeating decimal. Okay? So if I move my decimal place over once, twice, for me to move over that twice, I am actually multiplying by 100. So I'm multiplying by 100x because x is my original decimal. So that will give me 58.333333. I'm then going to move it over one more place as well to get 583.333333. And to do that, I had to do 10 more, which means I'm multiplying by 1,000. So 1,000x. So I'm going to go ahead and set up two equations right now based on my previous step. And so I'm going to go ahead and use these two. 100x equals 58.333, and 1,000x equals 583.33333. And when I subtract, because I'm going to be subtracting them eventually, I want to make sure the larger number is on top. So I say that 1000x is equal to 583.3, and 3 is going to keep going. And then I say that 100x is equal to 58.3, and it's still repeating. Okay? And I make sure my place values are lined up as well. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract now. Okay? 1000x minus 100x is 900x. And then I also have 583.3 minus 58.3. See my repeating 3's? If I just kept going with 3's, and just kept going, okay? They're always going to cancel each other out. So now I can cancel out what's on this side of it. Okay, that's getting rid of my repetition. So I go ahead and continue with 583 minus 58. I have to borrow. And I get 525. I no longer have anything after my decimal. My next step is going to be solving for x by dividing. So just like in my equations, I'm going to divide by 900 to get it out of the way. Okay. Which means that x is equal to 525 over 900. And then I'm going to go ahead and simplify my fraction as needed. So in order for me to simplify this fraction, I'm going to go ahead and divide by 25, both sides, the top and the bottom. 525 divided by 25 is 21. And then I also would go ahead and get here 36. I'm still not simplified because 3 can go into both of them. I'm going to divide by 3, and I would get my answer of 7 over 12. So x is equal to 7 over 12. So my repeating decimal of 0.5833333 is equal to 7 over 12. Okay. All right, number 2. I have 0.81, and my 81 keeps repeating. So 81, 81, and it keeps on going. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and let's write my decimal again. So I'm going to go ahead and determine my two spots where my repeating decimal is only in the decimal portion. And this one actually already has it, so I only need to move it one time, this one. I'm going to move it 2 spaces. And to move 2 spaces, I have to multiply by 100. So 100x is going to equal to 81.818181. X, we're going going to say is already equal to that. Okay? So now I'm going to go ahead and write my two equations. 100x equals 81.81 repeating. X is equal to 0.81 repeating. Same equations at the top. I'm going to go ahead and subtract them. 100x minus x is 99x. And then my repeating decimal here gets canceled out from each other. And then I'm just left with 81. Okay. Go ahead and divide by 99. And then I have x is equal to 81 over 99. I'm going to go ahead and divide the top and the bottom by 9 to simplify. Now we go ahead and get 9 over 11. So my 0.81 repeated is equal to 9 over 11. Number 3. I have 0.1234 with my 3-4 repeating. Okay. So I need to go ahead and rewrite my decimal here. 0.1234. 3-4. Okay. I'm going to stop right there. Okay. So in order to get my repeating portion just as a decimal, I have to come over 2 places and then multiply by 100. So that would be 100x. And then I'm also going to come over 2 more, okay, for my larger one there. So it's 1,234.343434. Okay. And that was actually by 10,000. So my two equations is going to be 10,000 x is equal to 1,234.34 repeated. And then 100x is going to equal 12.34 repeated. I'm going to go ahead and subtract the two of them now. Again, 10,000x minus 100x is going to be 9,900x. I'm going to go ahead and cancel out on this side my repeating decimals. That leaves me with 1,222. Go ahead and divide to get x by itself, giving me x is equal to 1,222 over 9,900. Now I can go ahead and see if that's simplified. Both of these numbers are even, so I know they definitely simplify, so I can divide the top and the bottom by 2. And now we get 611 over 4,950. So 0.12 and then 3-4 repeating is equal to 611 over 4,950. So right now you have 4 more problems for you to go ahead and try. Let's go ahead and pause the video and try those problems. Okay. The first problem you had to go ahead and do is 0.5 repeating. So you can go ahead and see if you keep repeating your 5 on. You're going to go ahead and do 10x minus x. Okay, that leaves 5 left over, and so you would do 5 over 9 would be your answer. Number 2, 0.45 repeating. You're going to have to move your decimal place over twice for that one, giving you that would be 100x. Okay. So 100x is equal to 45.45 repeating, and then x is equal to 0.45 repeating. Your 4, 5 repeating cancels out, leaving you 99x is equal to 45. Divide, and you get x is equal to 45 over 99. Simplify, so it's 5 over 11. Number 2 and 4. We had 0.16 repeating. Okay. Very similar to the last one, you're going to go ahead and move your decimal place over twice to 100x. You're eventually going to get 99x equals 16. Go ahead and divide them. And and then x is equal to 16 over 99. That is the simplest form. Lastly is number 4, 0.057 repeating. Okay, so in order to get just your repeating portion, the 57, as the decimal, you have to multiply it by 10x. Okay, and then you're going to go over 2 more places, which is your multiply by 1000x. So 1000x minus 10x, and then 57.57 minus 0.57 repeating. Your repeating decimal gets canceled out. You get 990x equals 57. Divide by 990, you get 57 over 990, which gets simplified to 19 over 330. Is our simplest form. And that is our repeating decimals converted to fractions.